Hello, Namaskar, and welcome to Apollo 24/7's Health Hour. Every week, we bring you experts from Apollo hospitals to this live session where you can ask questions and queries. You want to join us and ask a question about today's topic? We are going to talk about, is your diet damaging your liver? Everything about liver health. We are going to talk about fatty liver, and then how does it damage you and how do you maintain your liver health? All questions are welcome. If you are watching this on Facebook pages, if you want to ask a question, then please come on to the YouTube where you can use the live chat feature and type in your question in the YouTube chat box only. So today we are going to have a health quiz as well. You can win prizes from Apollo 24/7. Also on the show, we are giving away discount vouchers. You can claim them on Apollo 24/7. So download the app and get the benefits. तो चलिए आज का टॉपिक शुरू करते हैं. Is your diet damaging your liver? So we have two experts joining us today. Let me introduce our experts for today. Our first expert is Dr. Naveen Polavarapu, who's a chief transplant hepatologist and gastroenterologist from Apollo Hospitals, Jubilee Hills, Hyderabad, who has more than 19 plus years of experience. Good morning, doctor. Welcome to the show once again.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jansi ji.
Thank you, Naveen garu. Welcome. So Naveen garu Telugu maatladtaru Hyderabad nunchi. So also you can ask your questions in Telugu. And our next expert is Dr. Bhuvaneshwari Shankar, who is a senior consultant dietitian with experience of more than 40 years from Apollo Hospitals, Greens Road, Chennai. And here's Dr. Bhuvaneshwari Shankar. Good morning, ma'am. Welcome again. Ma'am, if your audio is on mute, I'll request you to unmute yourself. And Dr. Bhuvaneshwari Shankar can speak Tamil as well. So we can, any questions that you would want to ask or any information, we can help you with that language as well. Thank you for joining us again, ma'am. And ma'am, I'm still unable to hear you. So I'll request my team to... Yes. Yes, ma'am, you're ringing very well. So here are our experts today. It's wonderful having you back on the show. As usual, you bring in a lot of information and that is power. So let me start with Dr. Naveen garu. Naveen garu, let me understand how important is liver to our health and why is it so important?
Yeah, so let's start by saying that, liver is the largest solid organ in the body. And I also like to say that this is the chemical factory of our body. All the food that we eat, it actually, when it goes through the intestines, it gets absorbed and then it actually gets delivered into the liver. So whatever you eat actually gets metabolized in the liver to start with, and it gets distributed to the rest of the body. So I think liver is the biggest chemical factory of the body, and it does more than 600 to 700 different functions. So it is a very crucial organ. Like we think about, we talk about heart, lungs, and kidneys. Liver is a very, very, very important organ which does a lot of functions, as I mentioned.
हाँ, पर जाने अनजाने में हम लोग ऐसे काम कर लेते हैं that damage our liver. So I think it's all in our hands. What we do.
Absolutely.
And so the first and foremost reason, Dr. Bhuvaneshwari, I can point out to what humans do to damage their own liver is diet. Do you agree to that, ma'am?
100%. We are all by and large born with good liver. God has given us good liver and we do not maintain it, rather we abuse it.
Correct, ma'am. And what are the I would just want to understand, where are we going wrong in while diet can be damaging to liver? What kind of diet is bad for liver? One quick pointer there, please, Dr. Bhuvaneshwari.
A diet which is not balanced, which is high in fat and then high in carbohydrate. And so it increases the overall calorie in the diet. Every nutrition is important. Something very high is not good.
Okay. Dr. Naveen garu, one thing that I've heard recently, or I was reading up for this episode, and I've seen that 40% of Indian adults are going through fatty liver. And this put me in a state of shock. I said 40% of adults is literally a huge number. And why is this so? And what is the prevalence of fatty liver in India? And what happens to a liver when it is fatty liver?
Now, very important question, because as you rightly said, one in, I mean, 40% of liver of our population is actually having fatty liver these days. In fact, if you look at 40, 50 years back, we probably had about 15% fatty liver disease. Now it's actually grown to 40%. It is a big number, So in other words, we're talking about, almost half the population, close to half the population is actually having fatty liver, and they're actually going to have problems. And I keep saying in all my talks, fatty liver is a silent killer. It is going to affect all of us, and unless you are careful, it is definitely going to affect all of us. So it is progressing, and we are seeing huge number of population with fatty liver, and I think the trends have been changing. For one reason, people are getting more sedentary. Absolutely no exercise these days, and particularly COVID has made it much worse for people having work from home, not having exercises. We see a lot of patients in our clinic gaining 15, 20, 30 kilos also over the last couple of years, just because they are just working from home, no exercise, social stigma, sitting in a closed rooms, talking to just computers and not interacting with people, not having social interactions. We see a lot of people, I just saw a young girl yesterday, 20-year-old. She said she owns a startup company by herself. Yes, that's what she does. She gained about 30 kilos so just last couple of years because she's sitting at home just doing stuff on the computer. And we will, of course, we'll discuss probably about the childhood obesity, which is another bigger growing problem, to be honest. But I think it's a sedentary lifestyle. We have a lot of westernized culture, a lot of junk food that we're eating, no exercises, a lot of things just contributing to it. And India being the diabetic capital of the world, and people who have diabetes have an increased risk of developing fatty liver. All the metabolic syndrome, what we talk about, blood pressure problems, cholesterol, excess diabetes, all these, and obesity, particularly obesity around the tummy, the truncal obesity, what we talk about, all these are putting risks for developing fatty liver. And as we can understand by, with all these risk factors I'm talking about, that 40% population of Indian population is actually obese. In fact, if you look at the whole world, the highest obesity seen in the Middle East, then the South America, then comes to India. So we're not far from actually catching up with
Yes,
in terms of
yes,
fatty
yes.
liver. Yeah,
When we listen to these, at least it should be a call. That's when we should all be
absolutely.
take a call and start off taking care of our health. Dr. Bhuvaneshwari, how many times do you see a fatty liver case in your clinic who's come for a diet or a consultation आपके लिए? And what's the prevalence of it?
It's pretty high, as doctor mentioned, especially in youngsters. Elderly, when they let their lives active, they were not chair bound work. For everything, they stepped out of home. Today, the culture is ordering sitting from home through the mobile app. You can just step down, go down the road to walk and buy. But people are lazy. Sorry to use this word. That has made us get into this problem. We do not burn the calories what we consume. There is no balance between calorie in and calorie out. When you tell people cut down your diet, they feel bad, but they have to understand, if you burn so much, those days everything was physical work, even for women at home or for office goers. They walked to the bus stand, they cycled to their offices. Today, even for a short distance, either a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler is used, thanks to all the Uber, all these
The
things which
automation
deliver
and
things at
everything,
home.
ma'am. Today I sit here
Yeah,
and ask people to
many
buy
many
medicines
home
online.
delivery.
It's the same
Exactly,
thing, ma'am.
everything has become online. Everything is delivered at home. Where do you work? So you don't think it's so necessary, and you do not cut down when you order things from outside. Nothing is in your control. I'm talking about diet.
Yes, ma'am.
People
Dr.
listen
Naveen,
to
one time.
everything,
Yes, ma'am. Please continue, ma'am.
but putting it in practice, unless you change your lifestyle, it's a
Yeah.
holistic lifestyle change. It's not diet alone, diet with exercise and regular sleep.
Great. Dr. Naveen, here are a lot of questions people are asking. I'll still wait for some more people to join us before we take actual questions from YouTube. But as I glance through, I see a lot of people asking about their fatty liver and their grades. So, what are the grades before I take their individual questions? How do you grade a fatty liver, and what kind of percentage of fat in liver is okay? And does liver have fat?
Yeah. So just to put a blunt answer to that question, to be honest, forget about the grades that we talk about on the ultrasound scans or anywhere, any investigation. Grade one, grade two, grade three does not matter. Fatty liver is a fatty liver. Okay. You should not have that fatty liver. That's full stop. Okay. If you have to answer the question bluntly. But yes, liver has got fat, as any body has, any organ or any cells of the body have fat. Fat and liver is also does have fat. In fact, as I said earlier in my talk, the liver is a big chemical factory. So all the metabolism happens there. So liver does have fat. About 15 to 10% of the liver content, if you actually look at, has got fat. One of the storage places for the fat is the liver. So we're not worried about that part. What I'm talking about is making sure that the fat does not actually damage your liver. Okay, as we know that alcohol damages liver, excess amount of, and as Doc also mentioned that anything excess is not good. So excess of fat will also cause the same damage as alcohol does, or any other viruses cause. So any other insults cause. So excess fat in liver causes inflammation. That inflammation, when it happens on a regular basis over a number of years, months and years, that will lead to the scarring. Inflammation leads to scarring, what we call in medical terms is fibrosis. That fibrosis leads to what we call an end stage irreversible condition called cirrhosis. And once people reach a stage of cirrhosis, it is an irreversible stage, and I said, and it is a progressive condition. And only when you start developing cirrhosis and its complications, people won't have any symptoms till that point. So whatever process I've told so far, people will not have any symptoms. That's why we keep saying liver is a silent killer, and only when you have complications you'll come to the hospital, and by then it is too late. And most of the times, once the people get cirrhosis, the average life expectancy is only 2 to 3 years, unless you have a transplant.
Oh, that is scary again. So, Dr.
It is.
Bhuvaneshwari, while you were talking earlier, you also mentioned that eating high fat is dangerous for liver. So, also high carbohydrates are also risky for fatty liver. तो while understanding लोग अभी समझते हैं कि मैं फैट नहीं खाऊंगा, मैं बंद कर दूंगा, बस घी ऑयल ये सब कुछ कम कर दूंगा और मेरा फैटी लिवर ठीक हो जाएगा. इज दैट अ राइट अप्रोच?
As I said, you people think fat means it's only ghee, butter, oil. They forget the fried foods. They forget the nuts from where we get oil, like using too much of coconut, eating cashew nut every day, taking peanuts every day. There is no food which is bad food.
पर हमारे यहाँ
Everything
तो
in
चटनी,
life,
साउथ इंडियंस मैम, आपके तमिलनाडु और आंध्र प्रदेश तेलंगाना, हमारे यहाँ तो रोज कोकोनट चटनी बनता है, रोज पीनट चटनी बनता है. सो
yeah,
व्हाट्स योर
peanut
एडवाइस?
chutney, coconut chutney every day is not good. Okay, and how much? Next
Yes.
question, how much? Immediately they'll say, I read groundnuts are good, I read coconuts are good. As I said, there is no food which is a bad food. It's the amount and how often do you take. We never say stop things. We say cut down. It depends on cut down from where. If you're 80% eating, we might say bring it down to 40%. If you're already eating 50%, we might say bring it down to 25% because totally stopping everything is difficult. Gradually, we will ask you to cut down. Are you ready to burn these? It's difficult. We all need to understand how much calorie can you burn when you walk on a treadmill. I explain to people a small piece of Mysore pak. You know, Mysore pak is a typical South Indian sweet. A katori of ghee or butter, a katori or two of sugar, and half a katori or one katori of besan is Mysore pak. You can imagine the fat in it. A small Mysore pak will have around 200 calories and it's full of fat and sugar. To
And I need to
burn
walk
that
for 1 hour.
calorie, you have to be on the treadmill 5 kilometers per hour for 1 hour.
One
Is
hour.
it worth? It's very easy to take in, it's very difficult to burn out. So, if you understand, it's not only the oil or ghee amount what you're using, you're ordering food from outside. Who knows how much oil? Who knows what
Correct.
is fried? And they say nuts are good. Yes, nuts are good. Which nuts? How many?
Okay.
Again, everything comes to moderation.
Absolutely, ma'am. Moderation is the key there. So let me start the questions from YouTube. Dr. Naveen, here's the first question. Mr. Harish Ramkrishnan, 42-year-old. I've been diagnosed with second grade fatty liver. SGOT is 74. Doctor has advised me to decrease my weight, but I've weight is 64, but it is increasing. Can we help? So both of you, one after other. Dr. Naveen, if you would want to start.
Yeah. So, Mr. Ramkrishnan, I think there is some inflammation going on in liver. As you mentioned, your enzymes are elevated. I think first thing we need to understand is it just because of fat, or are there any other possibilities? Okay. So whether there's any hepatitis B and C, for example, that can also cause liver enzyme abnormalities, and similarly alcohol if there is any. And along with that, there are so many other reasons. So I think we need to first understand what is the reason for the inflammation or damage that is happening to the liver. That's the first thing we need to understand. And number two is as I said earlier, any fatty liver is not good in the liver, okay, for the body. So we need to start working on how to reduce the fat. The ideal, although you don't seem to be in a very obese stage based on your weight that you mentioned, but I think it is important, as we discussed, it is about the changes that actually matter. You may be 50 kilos, suddenly if you put on 10 kilos, that itself is a significant amount of weight gain that you have to actually look at. And as we've been discussing, because the working style these days, unfortunately, and everything available so easily, it is making us more lazy, and that's what is happening. In terms of treatment wise, if we confirm that it is all fatty liver which is causing damage, the treatment essentially is reversing the process. And that's why it is important to understand it's just not the medications which we need to look at. It is not the tablet, it is not the medications. It is reversing the process of what has happened, why it has happened. So if you start losing at least 10% of the weight, then I think you will start seeing the difference in your liver enzymes, at least 10% weight loss. But I think it's the whole lifestyle changes that we need to work on. And that's where it is important that we counsel you properly to make sure that you have a proper diet and exercise. 70% is a diet, 30% exercise, and absolutely no medications.
Wow. So that pushes the next turn to Dr. Bhuvaneshwari. If diet is the major role, Harish Ramkrishnan ji, as I understand, should be from Tamil Nadu. If you want to answer in Tamil, ma'am, please go ahead and give him a solution.
ஓகே முதல்ல நான் டாக்டரை பார்த்துட்டு என்கிட்ட வரணும்னு சொல்லுவேன். ஏன்னா இன்ஃப்ளமேஷனா அது எதனால வந்தது லிவர் ப்ராப்ளம்ங்கிறத டாக்டர் சொல்லுவாரு. அதுக்கப்புறம் நான் இண்டிவிஜுவலா இவங்க என்ன டயட் எடுக்கிறாங்க, என்ன எக்ஸசைஸ் பண்றீங்கன்னு பார்த்துட்டு நான் சஜஸ்ட் பண்ணுவேன். நான் வந்து எடுத்த உடனே ஒரு டயட் சார்ட் கொடுத்து இதை ஃபாலோ பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொல்ல மாட்டேன். ஏன்னா ஒருத்தரோட லைஃப் ஸ்டைல் இஸ் டிஃப்ரெண்ட். ஒருத்தர் வாழற இடம், சமைக்கிற ஆளு, சிலர் வந்து ஹாஸ்டல்ல இருப்பாங்க, பேயிங் கெஸ்டா இருப்பாங்க. அவங்களுக்கு என்ன அங்க அவைலபிள், அதை பொறுத்து நான் மாடிஃபிகேஷன் சொல்லுவேன். So
right. So let me quickly translate that bit, ma'am, for the other viewers as well. Doctor said first you go ahead, check
doctor,
with the
and then come to me, because the doctor will diagnose why is the fatty liver happening. Is it reversible only with diet and exercise? Then definitely I can help you to the maximum, and I will go through your lifestyle, present lifestyle, eating pattern, and who's cooking your food. Are you staying in a hostel? Are you staying in a PG? What is viable for you to change? I'm not going to give you a printed chart and say follow this. No, one dress doesn't fit everybody. So I will individualize and make a diet plan, and then we both will monitor your progress. This is how
wonderful. So Apollo 24/7 brings you all the experts together on one panel where you can get advice from a gastroenterologist as well as a dietitian. So it's a combination. You please go ahead. There's a WhatsApp number which is running on the ticker. You can make sure that you can order medicines and book tests as well. Dr. Naveen, with that, Mobile Tech Guruji is also asking, 39-year-old, slightly fatty liver, taken medicines, पर कुछ कम नहीं हुआ है. What is this medicine or supplementation that people are always after कि मेरा liver healthy रखना है मुझे और मुझे supplementation लेना है? How do you even find out how your liver is? Are there any tests that you want to say? Are there any supplements that can keep your liver healthy even while not checking if it's healthy or not?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's a very, very common question, to be honest, that we get asked in our clinic. I think in terms of understanding where we stand from liver point of view, there are certain tests which will tell us how much of fat content we have in our liver, how much damage has happened, how much scarring or fibrosis has happened. It's a very simple simple ultrasound kind of a test which will actually make us understand how much of fat we have in our liver. So it is readily available. It is called FibroScan, which is something new which has come up over the last probably say 15, 20 years, which has given us much more understanding. Previously, we used to do biopsies to understand what exactly is happening in the liver, but we don't do biopsies anymore these days. Most of the times we get away with the fibroscans. Okay, so that's one thing. In terms of treatment wise, please do not ask for any medication. I'm sorry to say this again, but it's not the medications which will change. Of course, there's so much of research which is going on, so many trials and medications coming up in the market in terms of the research, but I think it is not the medications. Excuse me.
Yeah. So
Um,
as
I,
you
I,
mentioned,
I, I keep saying it's
30%.
all about.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Please
It's
have a
all
sip of
about
water, doctor.
diet. It's all about diet and exercise. I think the first most important thing is diet and exercise, and that's tested and proven that diet and exercise is what actually changes the disease.
Yeah, right. So here, as you've mentioned, fibroscan, Indrajit Chatterjee पूछते हैं, my fibroscan has shown stiffness of 20 UAP 324. How dangerous is this, and what are the remedial steps that I should take?
Well, if it's already 20, I think there's a significant amount of damage that has happened, unfortunately. You definitely need to consult a liver specialist to understand where we stand in terms of the spectrum of the disease, whether it is fibrosis or cirrhosis. Anything about 12, we generally say it as cirrhosis. So we need to understand the whether you already reached the stage of cirrhosis. If that is the case, how we need to reverse that process to a certain extent, and how we need to stabilize the liver is what we need to look at. So definitely, you need to see a liver specialist. If the fibroscan score is about 20, you definitely need to see a liver specialist. We need to go through your own detail.
Great. So, Dr. Bhuvaneshwari, while I ask these questions about fatty liver and diet, there are also culturally or traditionally, I don't know how to call them, but people do take a lot of green juices, saying that these are detoxifiers. Is this a myth, or do they have any kind of effect?
It's 100% myth.
Hmm.
It's 100% myth. No green juice can dilute the fat from your body. Please understand, if fat has to go away from your liver, again, as doctor said, which stage, what is the percentage of fat in the liver? Definitely, diet and exercise can help reduce it and reverse it. Juices will not melt your fat. Please understand, it's only the overall carbohydrate and fat calorie bringing down, and
Hmm.
your exercises which will burn the fat. No
Right.
juice
So,
can burn.
right. Also, talk about the supplementations that you find a lot of in the name of liver health that you will find over the counter across the online platforms. Dr. Naveen, you also can pitch in here. There's so many supplements sold in the name of liver health. What is your take on it?
Should I start?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, please,
Yeah,
please.
okay. Yeah, so all this, yes, this is all, I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but none of these will work, to be honest. Okay. As long as you have the right balanced diet, as we've been discussing, you do not need any supplements, number one. And all these, which will say fat burners, medications, these are all nonsense, to be honest. None of them will work. And as I keep saying, it is not just limited to the Ayurvedic or to the Unani medicine or any medicines that we talk about. There are absolutely no medications which will actually burn the fat. It is just a diet and exercise. I keep saying that because we have seen time and again that none of these medicines actually will work. It's just a diet and exercise. First, you work on it. There are evidences only if there is evidence, if there is evidence of having fibrosis or scarring. Yes, there are medications to reduce that inflammation, but not the fatty liver. You know, you cannot
Yeah.
abuse your body by taking a lot of fat and then say that I'm going to take this medication, I'm going to burn it out. The only medicine for to burn the fat is the exercise along with the diet. That's the only medicine.
Great. So here's a next question from Mr. Nitin Godbole. 47-year-old, Pune se hai, and non-alcoholic fatty liver, uric acid is 8.1. Do I need to get a fibroscan done? I don't have BP, sugar or cholesterol. Please guide.
Yeah, so I think it's as I said earlier, the fatty liver is a silent killer. Okay, and as we discussed earlier in our talk as well, that 40% of the Indian population is having fatty liver. and out of them, at least 10% of them will progress towards fibrosis and will lead to cirrhosis. In fact, it is estimated that by 2030, the most common reason for having liver transplant throughout the world is going to be fatty liver. And also, not just the cirrhosis, fatty liver also has risk factor for developing liver cancer. And I also told you earlier that all this is a silent killer. It does not give any symptoms till it reaches a stage of cirrhosis. It does not give any symptoms till it reaches a stage of liver cancer. So it is important that all of us have to get regularly checked. All you need to do is just a simple blood test, liver function test, and an ultrasound scan, and maybe a fibroscan if there is any evidence of inflammation or having a fatty liver on the ultrasound scan. Get a fibroscan also, so that will give us an understanding about how much fat content we have in the liver. So it's all about prevention. Prevention, we know that is better than cure. It is about understanding what is happening to your body. The more you understand about your body, you'll be able to, in a better state, a better position to actually keep yourself healthy. So that's what I would suggest. If you have fibrosis or if you have any inflammation that you know, then get yourself checked by the liver specialist so that we can go through all this in detail.
All right. Dr. Bhuvaneshwari, here's a question from Mr. Vishnu Kondapalli. What is a good diet for vegetarians to maintain good liver health? And how many meals do I have to take?
Okay. First
Also,
question
ma'am,
is,
before you start, ma'am, can I also add the non-vegetarian and the link to fatty liver? Is there a link there, or how much, or what is damaging?
okay. Whether it is vegetarian or non-vegetarian, the amount of fat you consume matters. Okay, when you look at non-vegetarian, we should understand whichever non-vegetarian food you take, it animal source, I will put it. Be it milk is also from animal source. Milk, curd, paneer, chicken, fish, egg, everything has fat. Whereas when you come to a vegetarian diet, it's the oil what you use, it's the nuts what you consume, and the percentage of fat from the milk is the source of fat. We should understand that animal sources have fat in it. Vegetarian, like dals and vegetables and fruits, they don't have fat in it. Percentage is minimum. We need not consider it as a source of fat. Okay, that's number one. Whether you are a vegetarian or non-vegetarian, we need to know what you eat. You just order paratha, you take a lot of pickles, you take samosas, you take chips. You're a vegetarian. You take a lot of coconut milk in preparations, sweets. You end up eating a lot of sweets. Please understand every sweet has fat. I wonder whether there's any sweet which doesn't have fat.
No,
So, whether
I've
you're a
not
veg
heard
or
of.
non veg, yeah. So, you need to understand when you're a non vegetarian, your quantity of non veg. Second, non veg itself doesn't have any taste. So, people end up putting more salt, more fat, more masala in it to bring in the taste. So, they end up frying it, it adds on to the oil.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
this is
So
question number
that
one.
question is done. Yeah. So we have
Second one, how
vegetarian,
many meals?
non-vegetarian nahi hai. How much fat is important?
Yeah, how much calorie you take in and how much you burn. Next is how many meals you should have.
Yes.
Better to have three big meals, meaning three proper meals: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and two healthy snacks. Again, healthy snacks. So if you have only three meals, before the next meal, you'll end up feeling very hungry. You'll start munching snacks. That's why we say have your breakfast, have something at mid morning. It can be a cup of coffee or a cup of soup or a glass of buttermilk, and then lunch, and then tea with some healthy snacks and dinner.
That's nice. Spread throughout the day and cautiously consuming your
Yeah,
macronutrients.
you don't feel very hungry and you end up eating too much. So,
Yes. So next, Dr. Naveen Garu, here's a question from Sukumar Paul. If we maintain diet and regular exercise as you suggested, can the fatty liver be reversed to normal liver? Can this be reversed?
Very, very good question. Yes, absolutely, it will get reversed. Even up to the stage of fibrosis or scarring, it will reverse as long as you reduce the fat content in the liver. See, it's simple point. You know, liver is such a beautiful organ, as we discussed. God has given a very good liver, and liver is such a beautiful organ because it regenerates. As long as you don't insult it more, it will regenerate. And that is the reason why, even when you actually remove the fat content or remove the alcohol, if alcohol is a culprit or if it's a virus which is causing the hepatitis, if you remove those viruses, excuse me, if you remove those viruses or if you remove the culprits, liver will recover back to normal states, even up to the stage of fibrosis. But once it reaches a cirrhosis stage, it will not reverse. So you need to understand that point. So up to the stage of fibrosis, it will reverse as long as you remove the culprit. So, and again, as I keep saying, the treatment basically is removing the culprit. You just have to give liver the right medium for it to regenerate, and it will recover.
So also now the culprit, while we're talking about, we think it's only the diet and exercise, but let's also talk about alcohol, which also is a larger
Absolutely.
constituent in
Absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely.
majorly.
Absolutely. See, sadly, what we see is the alcohol consumption throughout the world, particularly in India, has grown up, has grown in number. It's just gone up quite significantly. It's startling numbers. Telangana is one of the highest consuming alcohol. Andhra Pradesh and the Northeast have actually have gone up in terms of percentage wise, the alcohol consumption. And again, with this COVID and the lockdown, we've seen huge number of patients who are coming with liver problems because of two reasons. One is the alcohol, and the other is the fatty liver. Both go hand in hand. People who drink alcohol, they eat all this kind of snacks and sedentary lifestyle. All these things are just adding to the problem, and we're seeing so many people with liver-related problems and pancreas and other diseases as well, primarily because of alcohol and the fatty liver, which is damaging. And I see this as, in my practice itself. I mean, we keep saying it was pre-COVID and post-COVID era, but we see that quite often, quite clearly in our practice. We're seeing so many sick patients, younger patients, coming with liver-related problems, and also much, much more sicker patients. We have about, we right now have a 30-year-old patient who came with alcohol-related problems, and he's almost gave blood vomit right now, and we are trying to save him. Is in a super critical stage just because he developed cirrhosis from liver disease, really. So it is there. It is hitting us hard. We need to understand all this, that unless you understand these perspectives, that alcohol and the fatty liver which is causing the damage, and you change those perspectives, it will not it will not improve. And as I said, this guy just talking about, he didn't have any warnings. He just gave me the blood vomit to our hospital, and is not well. So that's what you need to understand. It does not give any symptoms. It's a silent killer. Please understand that point.
Right. So while, ma'am, your opinion on alcoholic fatty liver as well, ma'am, how do you think it is in
Okay,
your cases?
alcohol damages the liver because it is alcohol. As a dietitian, I would like to explain what is the calorie you get from alcohol. A teaspoon of sugar gives 20 calories. A teaspoon of oil gives 45 calories. A teaspoon of alcohol gives 35 calories. It's almost in calorie near fat, and it's empty calorie. You take something, it has protein. A glass of milk will have protein. It has calcium, something good in it. A glass of juice, it has vitamins and minerals and some carbs from fructose. Okay, whether you need or not is different. But a glass of alcohol is only alcohol, it's just empty calorie. It makes you get flab and it hits your liver. And second, it's an addiction.
Correct.
Anything which is addictive, it's very difficult to give away, and it only increases. You keep increasing the quantity what you take in, and you can't live without it. It's very difficult to get away from it. So first, don't start. If you have started, please understand, again, moderation in it, and where you can think of going back. Yes, any habit you can reverse. Alcoholics getting liver disease, we all know, everybody thinks liver problem means alcohol drinking, but as doctor said, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is also there. So alcohol is not good for anybody.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, while you're talking about weight reduction and good diet, Indrajit Chatterjee's question was already answered. but उनका अभी weight 100 है, age 47 है, SGOT 50, SGPT 93. He would want a consultation with you, and your link is already given, ma'am. So you've already answered his questions. As you said, you cannot do a diet chart without knowing much detail. So it will be better that they consult you on Apollo 24/7. And Dr. Bhuvaneshwari Shankar's and Dr. Naveen Polavarapu's links are given. In case you would want to consult them, please go ahead and book a appointment. Dr. Naveen, here's Nikhil's question about people who work out in gym. How does whey protein for active gym folks impact liver health? What are the myths and realities?
A very good question. We do get this asked quite often as well. Excuse me. See, as we discussed, anything excess is not good. Okay.
Yes.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you should not go to gym. You should not eat healthy diet. We need to build muscle if we need to. And again, having adequate muscle is also very important for us. Okay. But anything in excess is not good. So you should always look at the natural way of getting the protein, not the unnatural way. If you really want to have protein diet, have eggs, have chicken if you are non-vegetarian, or if you have soyas and paneers, which you can also have a lot of enough amount of protein in. I'm not an advocate of whey protein. I'm not an advocate of having unnatural proteins, to be honest, simply because it has got a lot of other toxicities, and people don't understand where to stop for these. It's a natural way that we start having protein, and we see that results of it, and we start eating more of it, which is not right. I think natural way is the right way of getting the adequate protein. So we don't encourage any kind of whey proteins, to be honest. Eat natural, proteins. Egg has got a lot of protein in it. Eat adequate amount of proteins from that way.
Done. Ma'am, your ideas on protein intake, ma'am?
Okay. I see a lot of people joining gyms, which is good. Okay. I will tell you why I say it's good. If you say go for a regular walk, you don't go. Gym guys are taking 1 year subscription from you, which forces you to go. I would put it that way. And second, it's become a fashion to say, I'm going to the gym. Fine. Unfortunately, any gym instructor, the minute these guys go, they don't even realize first importing the habit of exercise is important. Immediately they say muscle and whey protein. And believe me, they end up buying such big dabbas of whey protein,
Yeah,
which costs.
they don't sell this dabba, ma'am.
No,
They sell
no, it
only
is
1
a
kilo.
big dabba of 3,000 to 4,000 rupees. So these guys will come to me and say, I'll say, is your gym instructor qualified enough to prescribe a whey protein? Second, does he know your other issues, health issues? Third, we don't know the company. Okay, we as dietitians prescribe whey protein for some patients who need it from authentic companies, okay, or
Yeah.
from pharmacies, I would say, not from gyms. So these whey proteins, we don't know what does it have. They import it. So I would say just don't listen to these guys and start taking. Third, I want to tell people how we talk about alcohol as an addiction, they get into obsession. They go to the gym, they want muscle here, muscle there. They get so obsessed about protein, protein, protein. They start writing down right from one, they buy a weighing scale. They're asked to buy a weighing scale. They're asked to buy water, measuring things. Yes, drinking water is good, definitely. But you should not get into the obsession stage where these guys say, ma'am, I've got little flab here,
Yes.
little flab there. So, people who are studying, going to sit for their final exam, they hit the gym and come and start measuring their chest, they don't think when to do what. So we should not get into that obsessive stage. So take a
All right.
professional's help
Yes,
before
ma'am.
you consume protein.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much. Dr. Naveen, here's Satish's question, who's 57-year-old. I don't have any visible complications, but how do I understand if my liver is damaged? Any regular periodic checks to be done?
Satish Garu, I think it's a very relevant question, and I think I should address this question to the general population as well, who are normal and healthy as well.
కొంచెం అప్పుడప్పుడు
So I think
తెలుగులో కూడా చెప్పండి డాక్టర్ గారు.
okay. సో రెగ్యులర్ గా చెకప్ చేయించుకుంటే మనం ఎట్లాగే యాన్యువల్ చెకప్ చేయించుకుంటాము, అట్లాగే లివర్ ఫంక్షన్ టెస్ట్ చెక్ చేసుకుంటే మనకు తెలుస్తుంది లివర్లో ఎంత డ్యామేజ్ ఇన్ఫ్లమేషన్ ఎంత ఉందని తెలుస్తుంది. అదే కాకుండా సింపుల్ అల్ట్రాసౌండ్ స్కాన్ కూడా చేస్తే తెలిసిపోతుంది. అంటే ఇన్ఫాక్ట్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ ది యాన్యువల్ చెక్స్ దట్ వీ డూ మనం చేసే దాంట్లో అన్నిట్లోనూ కూడా ఈ లివర్ ఎంజైమ్స్, లివర్ ఫంక్షన్ టెస్ట్ అండ్ అల్ట్రాసౌండ్ స్కాన్ ఇన్కార్పొరేట్ అయి ఉంటుంది దాంట్లోనే. సో గెటింగ్ దట్ టెస్ట్ విల్ ఆల్సో మేక్ us అండర్స్టాండ్. ఇంకొక పాయింట్ ఐ జస్ట్ వాంట్ టు యాడ్ at this stage is also check for hepatitis B and C. See,
Oh, yeah.
all these diseases are preventable diseases. Hepatitis B and C are preventable diseases. And fatty liver is preventable disease, and of course alcohol, which is in our hands, is also preventable disease. So liver disease in per se by itself, all of them, majority of them are preventable disease. So మన చేతిలో ఉందంతా. మనం రెగ్యులర్ గా చెక్ చేయించుకొని దీనికోసము మనం దానికి ట్రీట్మెంట్ అంటే మెడికేషన్సే కాదు, లైఫ్ స్టైల్ చేంజెస్ తోటి then we should be able to control all these things. Hepatitis B కనుక లేదు మీకు నెగటివ్ అయితే కనుక ఎక్స్క్యూజ్ మీ, ఐమ్ సో సారీ. సో హెపటైటిస్ బి నెగటివ్ అయితే కనుక all of you should get vaccinated. Prevention is better than cure, as we always say. Hepatitis B virus మనకి అగైన్ మళ్ళీ ఇందాకలానే లివర్ ఇస్ సైలెంట్ కిల్లర్. ఆల్ దీస్ ఇన్సల్ట్స్, హెపటైటిస్ బి కానీ, సి కానీ, ఆల్కహాల్ కానీ, ఫ్యాటీ లివర్ కానీ, all these will damage slowly without people noticing it, and only cirrhosis వచ్చిన తర్వాత మనకు తెలియదు. సో అలా రాకుండా ముందే మనకు హెపటైటిస్ బి లేదు అని తెలిసినప్పుడు హెపటైటిస్ బికి మంచి వ్యాక్సినేషన్స్ ఉన్నాయి, వేసేసుకోండి. సో దట్ మీకు రాకుండా మీరు ప్రివెంట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. అండ్ ఇన్ఫాక్ట్ త్రూఅవుట్ ద వరల్డ్ అందరూ వేసుకోవాలి. దిస్ ఇస్ అ డిసీజ్ లైక్ స్మాల్ పాక్స్ ఎట్లా ఎరాడికేట్ చేసాము, హెపటైటిస్ బి షుడ్ ఆల్సో బి ఎరాడికేటెడ్ throughout the world. B and C both should be eradicated, and it is our responsibility that we get vaccinated.
So, doctor, you have asked people to check for their hepatitis. If they are negative, then they should go in for a vaccination. And
Get vaccinated,
which age group should take this vaccination? I've switched over to English because this is concerning larger population. So,
yeah. In fact, the universal vaccination program now for any newborn child get vaccinated for hepatitis B. So any age group can have this vaccination, but first get yourself checked that you don't have hepatitis B first. If you don't have hepatitis B, then get yourself vaccinated. If you have hepatitis B, then please consult a liver specialist so that we can understand how much damage has already happened and what is the virus doing, so that we can actually control and limit the damage that is happening to your liver.
All right. So I am not yet vaccinated, and this is a very personal question again. So I have not been to a vaccination center yet. So can I get the vaccination? How many shots is this?
Absolutely.
And is this an annual shot or?
No, it's not an annual shot. So first get yourself checked, as I said, and if it is negative, then you should get vaccinations. Vaccination is basically 3 doses only. So if you take 1 dose today, you take the second dose 1 month later, and the third dose is 6 months later. So that's it. 3 doses, 3 injections, you're vaccinated. And previously we used to talk about booster doses every 5 years, but that is not required anymore. 3 doses of vaccination is good. Injections is good enough to be vaccinated.
So that will be my priority for this year now. All right. Next question, I do want to move on as we're running short of time. This is, yes, Vishnu Kundapalli. Lot of people are in IT sector. Ma'am, I think I'll divert this question to you. We are staying in hostels and it is difficult to maintain good diet. How do I maintain in such cases?
హాస్టల్ భోజనం తినకూడదు.
విష్ణు గారు మీరు వండుకొని తినండి.
లేదు, again, as I told you, I'll run through this. I'm facing lot of people are coming to me saying I'm PG hostel, they only this I get. So I will say the days you get puri, the days you get paratha, look for an alternative. Can you do some cooking in your room? Can you take this? Like that I will suggest. Or they have to talk to the place where they are staying, and if everybody represents, probably they might change things like steamed idli alaga instead of puri.
Ma'am,
That
here
is
can we
better.
also be mindful while we are eating consumption, especially if you're buying and eating your food? Can mindful procuring help?
Definitely. These
Fruit
people,
is readily available.
though they stay in the hostel, they also order. I know that. They say so many times a week we go out, or we go out to buy snacks. Hostel food bagaledu is one, but when you buy from outside, taste bagundi, health ku adi bagaledu. So like that, you need to, balance. You need to pick the best what you get, and then do the best what you can, and then do some activity also.
Yeah.
It can't be
Yeah.
only diet.
Correct. Correct.
So
You surprised
can I
me by
just add
talking in
one?
Telugu. Yeah. Please continue, Dr. Naveen. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. See, the only thing which I tell my patients is, see, we talk about a lot of things. ఇది చేయండి అది చేయండి ఇలా చేస్తే మంచిది అలా చేస్తే బాగుంటుంది సో వీఆర్ దేర్ టు జస్ట్ గివ్ ది వాట్ ఆర్ ద రైట్ అడ్వైజెస్ టు దెమ్ బట్ అల్టిమేట్లీ దే ఆర్ ఇన్ చార్జ్ ఆఫ్ దర్ హెల్త్. It is not anybody else. It is your health.
Yes.
You're responsible for it. It's up to you. How do you want to do it? Being the experts or being, knowing about these things, we talk about, we discuss with them, we give options to them, but they are in charge of their health. They should take responsibilities about what they're doing. Hospital నాకు ఇదే ఫుడ్ దొరుకుతుంది అది తినలేను ఇది తినలేను అంటే see if you have days when you have puris and whatever the unhealthy diet, limit that quantity. Supplement that with a nutritional diet that you get from outside. You have so many options, as we discussed, of getting outside food. So have more fruits on that day or more other healthy diet. Don't crib about saying that I live in a hostel, this is the only food that I get. No, it is not the hostel's responsibility. It is your responsibility to look after your health. I'm sorry to say this, but being so
Yeah.
bluntly, but you're responsible for your health. Don't blame somebody
Don't
else for
wait.
your health,
Yeah.
for your thing.
Don't wait for your hostel to provide good food. That's the summary, and go find out your good food sources.
Yeah,
Great. Next
absolutely.
question.
There's so
Dr.
many
Naveen.
places where you can get a lot of
Yeah.
healthy diet.
Yeah, Dr. Naveen, here's the next question about autoimmune hepatitis. There are two people who are asking about this. Jay and Dr. Vinay Ramnani. Both of them are asking. Jay says autoimmune hepatitis, ANA is positive, not an alcoholic. What is the
Yeah.
going way forward?
Yeah, so just for the viewers as well, I'll just talk about what autoimmune disease is. So as the name says, autoimmune hepatitis. Hepatitis means inflammation to the liver. So anywhere itis in the body, in our literature, itis means inflammation because it's happening in the liver, it's called as hepatitis. Now, as the name says, autoimmune, which means our own immune system, which should protect our body from any outside sources or insults like infections. Those soldiers are sensing that liver is an outside organ and is damaging our liver. So that's why we call it as autoimmune. So our own immune system autoimmunely damaging the liver is what we call autoimmune hepatitis. Now we talk about three most common reasons why liver gets damaged. One is the alcohol, fatty liver, and hepatitis. These are the three biggest reasons. But along with that, there are so many hundred different reasons. Like for example, autoimmune hepatitis, excess iron, copper deposition, autoimmune conditions. There are different things in here. So all these things can cause damage to the liver. Now coming specifically to the autoimmune condition, hepatitis, our own soldiers are causing damage to the liver. That will any inflammation over a number of years will lead to scarring. Scarring will lead to the cirrhosis. Okay, whatever the insults may be, whether it's alcohol or autoimmune or fatty liver, does the same process of inflammation. Inflammation leads to the fibrosis. So what we need to try to look at is in autoimmune hepatitis is how to dampen that inflammation. For that, there are medications which will dampen inflammation, like steroids, azathioprine. So there's so many medications which will actually dampen the inflammation. So there, you need to see a liver specialist so that we can follow this disease on a regular basis. We control inflammation, make sure it doesn't actually progress towards fibrosis and cirrhosis. Because once it reaches the stage of cirrhosis, the only treatment will be a transplant. So we
Yeah.
need to work on beforehand so that inflammation does not progress and we keep the inflammation under control. So autoimmune disease, you need to consult a liver specialist so that we can go through all of them in detail.
Great. And also, would you please comment on Gilbert syndrome and its effects? Will it lead to fibrosis, cirrhosis, or any other problem? Sahil is asking this question.
Yeah, Sahil, Gilbert syndrome, again, we get these things quite often in our clinic. So Gilbert syndrome is different to other conditions. Now, what Gilbert syndrome is nothing but some of the enzymes which help in metabolizing the bilirubin is a bit lazy or slow. Okay, it does not mean your liver is actually abnormal. Your liver is absolutely working fine. If you get a label of Gilbert syndrome, you can simply ignore that disease. Although it says a syndrome, but it is not a syndrome. It is not a disease. You can simply ignore. Your liver is working absolutely fine. So the example that I give in my clinic for these patients who come with Gilbert syndrome is so you have a class of 100 people in a class. You have 100 students. So all of the students are not bright as everybody is. Some of them are dull. Doesn't mean that dull student is a bad student. They're still a good people, but just, it's the enzymes a bit more lazy. That's why it is taking time for it to clear those bilirubin. So Gilbert syndrome, nothing to worry. You are absolutely normal. You have a normal liver. Whenever you have any insult or infection in the body, enzymes koncham perugutai. It will just go up, but it will come back again. The bilirubin goes up and will come down. So Gilbert syndrome was there, nothing to worry. Ignore cheyandi. లాట్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్ ఏమొస్తారంటే బిలిరూబిన్ చూసేసుకొని నెట్లో చూసేసుకుంటారు, బిలిరూబిన్ పెరిగింది, నాకు జాండీస్ వచ్చేసింది, నాకు క్యాన్సర్ వచ్చేస్తుంది, సిరోస్ వచ్చేస్తుంది అనుకుంటారు. సో లాట్ ఆఫ్ టైమ్స్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు కౌన్సిల్ దెమ్ సేయింగ్ దట్ నథింగ్ టు వరీ ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఇస్ గిల్బర్ట్ సిండ్రోమ్.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much for throwing light on those two conditions. Dr. Bhuvaneshwari Garu, we are running short of time, but I would want to squeeze in a few more questions. Here's the next question about intermittent fasting. Is this going to help liver?
I will say no. Okay, why do you want to do intermittent fasting? Number one, anybody who wants to do intermittent fasting, I would say look at your total calorie. Intermittent fasting lo em chestarante, they don't eat for a long time. They eat only for 8 hours, 16 hours they fast. First, before doing that, are you the right candidate? Why do you want to do that? Is it because X told, Y told, or you read in the net? Or is it a fashion to say I'm on intermittent fasting? Anybody with GERD or ulcer or who is a diabetic, you're not a candidate for intermittent fasting. You look at your total calorie, source of your calorie, and then calorie burning. So
Yes.
if you ask me, is intermittent fasting good for liver? I will say no. Doctor, do you want to add?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There are different diets as we've been discussing. Chala diets చూస్తుండే నెట్లో, but none of them are actually, there's no science or evidence behind it, frankly, to be told. Important thing is look after yourself. What is that I want, and how do I want to keep myself healthy? Okay, so intake, output, input, output is what we need to look at. In the calories తీసుకున్నా ఎంత burn చేస్తున్నాను, so that's all it matters, to be honest. And taking that calories in a healthy way, adequate amount of fat undali, carbohydrates undali, protein undali, and minerals, vitamins. These are all important nutrients, the dietary components. So ఇవన్నీ కూడా adequate గా ఉండాలి. ఇదే తింటాను అదే తింటాను, ఫ్యాట్ అంటే కీటో డైట్ లా తీసుకుంటాం, ఇవన్నీ కూడా వీ హ్యావ్ సీన్ పీపుల్ కమింగ్ విత్ కిడ్నీ ఫెయిల్యూర్, డయాలసిస్కి వెళ్ళి ట్రాన్స్ప్లాంట్ చేయించుకున్న వాళ్ళు, అదర్ ఆర్గన్స్ డ్యామేజ్ అయిన వాళ్ళు, కీటో డైట్ తోటి, ఈ డైట్ ఆ డైట్ తోటి అయిన వాళ్ళు చాలా మంది చూసాము. ప్లీజ్ డు నాట్ డూ ఎనీథింగ్, జస్ట్ బీ సెన్సిబుల్. యూ హ్యావ్ టు సీ, దీనికి లాజిక్ ఏం లేదు, మీకు ఆలోచిస్తే మీకు అర్థమవుతుంది. ఈ డైట్లు ఇవన్నీ కూడా చెత్త. మనకి ఏం తినాలి, ఎలా తినాలి అని సెన్సిబుల్ థింగ్ మనం చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి నేర్చుకున్నాము, చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి చూసాము. అడిక్వేట్ అమౌంట్ ఆఫ్ calories content and దానికి అవుట్పుట్ ఉండాలి, ఇంతే. సింపుల్ లాజిక్.
Done. So input and output, if you start working out in between, that's more than enough. That's what both the doctors are saying. Yes.
Absolutely.
Next question, that quickly I would want to take two questions. A lot of people are asking about their LFTs, SGOT, SGPT, and all the other functions they are typing down there, which we can't take here, but doctors are available on Apollo 24/7. You can go ahead. Most of the topics have been discussed. There's a gentleman, Mr. Sumit, who's asking about if I take an enema, will it help liver? Quick yes or no?
No.
No. That's it. So not much time we are spending there. Krish Soni ji पूछ रहे थे, 3 महीने पहले मैंने जब LFT करवाया था तब मुझे थोड़ा फैटी लीवर बताया गया था. अभी LFT में सब ठीक है. Am I still fatty liver? Am I in the same condition?
No, अच्छा है कि आपके लिवर एंजाइम्स नॉर्मल हो गए अभी, which is good thing. Okay, I'm sure आपने कुछ चेंजेस करे हैं होंगे, इसलिए आपके एंजाइम्स अच्छे हो गए हैं. So whatever has worked for you, keep doing it. Healthy. This should be an alarm. आपको अलार्म बेल रिंग होनी चाहिए कि पहले क्यों एबनॉर्मल हुआ है, अभी क्या करा मैंने. It's all about introspecting yourself कि अच्छा क्या करा है, उसको कैसे अब मेंटेन करना है. So these are all lifestyle decisions and changes that you need to make. And वो जो आपने अच्छा करा है, see, I'm sure you may have not taken any medications. It's just the diet and exercise which has helped you. तो उसके हिसाब से आप वही कंटिन्यू करते रहे. जैसे आप खाना खाते हैं, सांस लेते हैं, उसी तरह this also should be a part of the life of having healthy diet and exercise.
Great. So, Dr. Bhuvaneshwari ji, while taking care of your diet and exercise, how important is it to get a gastroenterologist and all the other tests done? So it's not one day or one diet or 1 month. It's going to be a lifelong process. So how do you understand, how do you make your clients understand this?
Meeting the gastroenterologist is very important. First is doing a health check every year. Don't think you're healthy without doing a health check. I tell you celebrate your birthday, you celebrate your wedding anniversary. We spend for many things. Getting one health check done will let you know how good or how healthy you are. Whether is there any warning signal? Is there anything you need to change? Especially post pandemic, putting on weight, increase in alcohol, lack of activity has led to many people with fatty liver. So it's nowadays even IT companies have made sure that their employees are getting health check done. Basic health check lo liver function test undi.
Okay.
If there is any change, please go back to your gastroenterologist and then come to us. We can help you.
Great. So one quick last question to you, Dr. Naveen. I know that I couldn't take a lot of diabetic and cholesterol and triglyceride related questions. There's only two gentlemen who have been asking diabetes and liver. Would you want to comment on that quickly?
Yeah, so ఇందాక మాట్లాడుకున్నట్టు డయాబెటీస్ ఈస్ ఎ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఆర్ సిగ్నిఫికెంట్ రిస్క్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ ఫర్ డెవలపింగ్ ఫ్యాటీ లివర్. Excuse me. So if I had to put perspective, 70% to 80% of diabetic patients will have fatty liver. సో అంటే 100లో 70 మందికి ఉన్న 100 మంది డయాబెటీస్ దాంట్లో 70 మందికి డయాబెటీస్ ఉన్న దానికి ఫ్యాటీ లివర్ ఉంటుంది వాళ్ళకి. సో దట్ కామన్ ఈస్ ది that is the fatty liver people get with diabetes. Diabetes, hypercholesterolemia, అంటే excess amount of fat content, cholesterol, triglycerides ఎక్కువ ఉండటం వలన, blood pressure ఎక్కువ ఉండటం వలన, particularly పొట్ట చుట్టూ obese ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి, that's bad fat, that's visceral fat అంతా వెళ్ళి liver లో డిపాజిట్ అవుతుంటుంది. సో దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ రిస్క్ ఫ్యాక్టర్స్. ఇవన్నింటిని మెటబాలిక్ సిండ్రోమ్ అంటాం అనమాట మెడికల్ టర్మ్స్ లో. పీపుల్ విత్ మెటబాలిక్ సిండ్రోమ్ హ్యావ్ వెరీ హై రిస్క్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్యాటీ లివర్. నాట్ జస్ట్ ద ఫ్యాటీ లివర్, వీళ్ళకి కార్డియోవాస్కులర్ అంటే హార్ట్ అటాక్స్ రావటం, స్ట్రోక్స్ రావటం, బ్రెయిన్ స్ట్రోక్స్ రావటము, బ్లడ్ వెసల్స్ అని ఎఫెక్ట్ అవటం, దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ వెరీ వెరీ కామన్. ఓకే, సో అగైన్ as I said, these are all lifestyle diseases. So డయాబెటీస్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి డెఫినెట్ గా they have to get themselves checked regularly for the fatty liver and get them evaluated and treated for the fatty liver.
Yes, thank you so much, doctors. Due to paucity of time, I'll not be able to take more time, but this is a topic which requires 2 or 3 more sessions to answer all the questions in there.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So looking forward for one more session with you. But before we close, Dr. Naveen, I would want to have top tips from you to having maintaining a healthy liver.
Okay, so first of all, thanks for giving the opportunity to talk about these important topics. Very important to understand. Please, I keep saying this: liver is a silent killer. It does not give any warning symptoms till it actually gets significantly damaged. And once the people reach the stage of cirrhosis, which is the irreversible stage, life expectancy is only 2 to 3 years. So please understand that you need to get yourself checked regularly for any liver problems. All you need is just simple liver function test, which is the normal blood test. Along with that, an ultrasound scan, which most of the annual checkups have it. So get yourself regularly checked, number one. Number two is very important to understand that fatty liver is a big problem. 40% of the Indian population are fatty liver, and this will progress towards cirrhosis, as we're discussing. So work on your diet and exercise. These are the only treatments which are available, only medicines which are available for fatty liver, is controlling the diet and exercise. And number three is get yourself checked for the hepatitis B and C as well. And if you're negative for hepatitis B, get yourself vaccinated. And number four is alcohol. Okay, alcohol, any amount of alcohol is dangerous to your liver and to your body. So stop the alcohol if you do have to, but drink in a very moderated levels as recommended in the limits. So please look after your health. Healthy liver will keep you healthy for the rest of your life. And liver is a big chemical factor, as I said. So you can understand, liver gets damaged, every part of the body, every organ of the body gets damaged. So look after yourself, keep yourself healthy. Diet and exercise are the cornerstones, and removing the culprits to the liver are the cornerstones for having a healthy liver and healthy life. Thank you.
Wonderful tips there from you, Dr. Naveen. Dr. Bhuvaneshwari, what are the top foods or what is the best part to maintain diet for a healthy liver?
Okay. Count your calories. Try to lose weight if you're overweight by cutting down calories, especially fat and carb calories. Try to say no to sweets, fried items on a regular basis. Once in a while, a small quantity in moderation is allowed. Again, look at alcohol as a calorie source. It's a very high calorie source alcohol has. Try to say no to alcohol. Be active. That's all I would like to say.
Fantastic. So if we follow these tips, Dr. Naveen, Rajesh was asking one last question. How long can I expect a fatty liver to reverse? One quick note, please. Timeline.
Yeah, so it is a spectrum. It gradually happens. It is not that you shut the door and then fatty liver has become a normal liver. It does not happen like that. So forget about fatty liver. This is just a wake up call for you. But work on your lifestyle so that it is an ongoing process. Keep yourself active, eat healthily, and exercise, and it will automatically happen. You don't have to worry about it. This is not an exam that fatty liver is a normal liver. आ गया ऐसा नहीं होता. This is not an exam. It is a lifestyle. You just keep doing the right things. It will obviously happen.
But both of you, you have motivated, you have given so much information, which is power according to me. I am a little more motivated to take care of myself. So thank you so much, doctors. Good Sunday to you. Thank you.
Thank you, and you too.
Namaste. So these were our experts. Do take care of your health. And now I'm proceeding ahead a little quickly. मैं health quiz कर लेती हूँ. 12 बज गया है. But still for you, here comes the health quiz. That we're going to ask you 3 questions. Please answer your questions on YouTube chat only. Winner's name will be announced towards the end of the show, and winners will be selected at the sole discretion of Apollo 24/7 team. If you are declared a winner, please write back to us with all your contact details at marketing@apollo247.com. And gift vouchers will be shared with you. चलिए आज के 3 questions आपके स्क्रीन पे डालेंगे. The first question is true or false? A healthy liver keeps your brain healthy. Is that true or false? Now fill in the blank. Question number 2. Dash percent of a liver is made up of fat. Dash percent of a liver is made up of fat. Question number 3. Yes or no में answer कीजिए. The liver is the largest glandular organ of the human body. Is that true or false? Yes or no? So these are the 3 questions. Please go ahead and answer these questions. If you want me to repeat, true or false? A healthy liver keeps your brain healthy. Is that true or false? Fill in the blank. What percentage of a liver is made up of fat? Yes or no mein answer dijiye. Question number 3. The liver is the largest glandular organ of the human body. Is that true or false? Right, these are the 3 questions, and quickly I want to give you away gift coupons which you can use on Apollo 24/7, and please download the app. You can use them there. The first code that we're giving is AskDoc150, AskDoc150. You can consult top doctors direct from Apollo and also get 150 rupees cash back on online doctor consultation. So go ahead, download Apollo 24/7 and use the code AskDoc150. Next coupon that we are giving away is first 3, FIRST3, and you order medicines direct from Apollo, get 25% off on online medicine orders. This is valid for the first 3 medicine orders above 1000 rupees. And also, if you order on Apollo 24/7, you can get up to 2-hour delivery. Delivery until 2 hours as well. So here's the next coupon, HH247. Use the code HH247 and get 199 rupees off on online consultations with Apollo doctors, and also 20% off on medicine orders as well. All these 3 can be used on Apollo 24/7 app. Download the app. And also now Apollo 24/7 can be accessed with the convenience of your mobile phone. You can call or WhatsApp on 9355247247 to avail the healthcare services. चलिए नेक्स्ट वीक आप सब लोगों के लिए हम ला रहे हैं बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग डिस्कशन, जोड़ों का दर्द, कारण और उपचार. That is the joint pains. Lot of us have joint pains, or at least have parents who are suffering from joint pains. So join us next week. We are going to do this episode. केवल हिंदी में एपिसोड होगा. आपके जो भी क्वेश्चंस है, प्लीज ब्रिंग इन योर क्वेश्चंस. हम आंसर्स दिलवाएंगे अपोलो एक्सपर्ट से. थैंक यू सो मच ऑल ऑफ यू, एंड नाउ आई एम वेटिंग फॉर माय winners to be decided. Let's see who our winners for today are. Yes, I'm still waiting. In case that I don't have time for the winners today, yes, the winners are Anmol Ratan, Harminder Kaur and Joginder Singh. Congratulations. The winners' names are also put in the chat box. Please go ahead and send your details to Apollo's marketing at apollo247.com so that we can share your gift vouchers with you. चलिए फिर नेक्स्ट हफ्ते मिलते हैं. नमस्कार.